Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks, where we're anything but straight. My name is Space.
And my name is Bix.
And we welcome you to our show, which is about what today?
Today is FANGASMS Winter 2026 edition.
Okay, well, to be fair, maybe we should call it fall-winter.
Fall/winter.
Fall/winter. We just realized we went into, because we were like, wait, when did we do a fall FANGASMS? And I had to go and search for it. I'm like, oh shit, we never did one.
We released the summer FANGASMS in October.
Yeah.
We recorded and released it in October, which, to be fair, still felt like summer. October felt like July for me.
So I guess, this is kind of like a combo. Generally, the way this works is we usually go towards the end of the season. So if it's, let's say, March or April, it would technically be winter and spring FANGASMS.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a weird one because we're going to do a fall, winter, and then a winter to spring. And then we'll just kind of hopefully catch up from there.
Hopefully. This is also, I was going to say, also we should probably call it 2025 because we originally tried to record before Christmas and ended up not being able to record. So we kept pushing it back until it was after New Year's. And so now we're in 2026. We've been trying to make this happen since 2025.
Okay, well, technically we have 2 emails that happened in 26. So we can call this FANGASMS 25-26.
Yes.
So year-end, whatever.
New Year's edition.
New Year's something edition. Like that. So, yeah, that's fun. Also, if you guys haven't recently noticed, we've changed our look. So if you go onto let's say our Twitter or our Blue Sky, YouTube, our podcast website, or even in Telegram, you'll notice that the icons have all changed and so have the banners. And so we have a fresh new look, all thanks to the wonderful Deer Dog, who does amazing work. She's our in-house artist. She's been on the team since I did for media, so a long time. She's probably one of the, she's not old. She's the oldest team member in the crew. And then I think after that comes Sparrow, and then it kind of goes from there.
I didn't realize this, but we also changed on Spotify, and I'm assuming the other streaming platforms as well.
Yeah, we do.
I did not notice that one.
I also found out that we have 3,500 subscribers on Spotify.
Interesting. Did not know that.
So Buzzsprout only tells me it gives me a breakdown, but it doesn't tell me how many subscribers we have. So I was going on Spotify and I was like, hey, I want to look at doing ads. So I was looking in there. I came up across this Spotify creator account. I'm like, do we have one of these? And I logged in. I'm like, I guess we do have one of these. I must have set this up years ago. And it shows me all of the subscribers. And then there's little mini chats and comments for each episode. I didn't really delve into it, but I looked in the notifications and I'm like, holy shit.
How do you comment on comments? You can comment on the shows, on the episodes?
Yeah, I guess you can. I don't know, but it's possible.
I need to do some investigating.
Spotify made it possible. Thanks for telling us.
I must see.
I'll get you the account information because the creator account is different.
Mm-hmm. Well, sorry, I want to see on the
on
the episodes.
Itself.
Did you? Oh, hello.
Yeah, there's tons of comments on there, and I was just
I didn't know you could scroll down on this. There's chapters.
Crap.
There are chapters. So Spotify has auto-generated chapters. So on the Astra the Kitty interview, first chapter is introducing Astra the Kitty, our celebrity fur guest. Chapter 2 starts at 6 minutes. It's from Megaplex Mayhem to Fandom Love Story. Chapter 3 starts at 14 minutes and 42 seconds, setting boundaries while interviewing in the fandom. That's really cool. That's auto-generated. Interesting.
Oh my God. This just happened to be there. Okay. This works out perfectly. So a person by the name of, I don't even know how to say this, so I'm going to butcher it. Tyrannofex, whatever. So they said, gotta say, I love the show. Hope you see this. You answered my question in the last FANGASM, and I'm really happy about that. Keep at it. You're amazing.
I love that.
Yes. So hooray for that.
Awesome. Is that was in the comments?
Yeah, that was in the comments.
Huh.
Ironically, this is what doesn't make sense to me. Algorithm for Spotify doesn't really make sense to me, but according to Spotify, the Astra Kitty also suggests listening to Tuck Shops to Tokyo with Olivia Spuds. I have no idea what that is.
It generates okay, so it has an auto-generated transcript as well.
And Very Delta. I don't know what that is either. Fantasia El Amor.
Okay, sorry. I'm kind of like nerding out because so this auto-generated transcript, it has speaker 1, 2, and 3. 1 is USpace, speaker 2 is RIM, and speaker 3 is Astra.
Where'd you find the transcript?
I'm on the mobile app, so maybe it's only for me. But you tap on the episode, it'll pull up the information on the episode. What I'm noticing is right at the very top, just under kind of the card and the name and the title, says you can now send us quote unquote text messages from your phone. Oh, yeah. Just tap this message and you'll be directed to send us a text.
You've never seen
Mobile
that?
Phones only. I have not.
Okay, so we have enabled. Why is it not letting me log in? Stupid Buzzsprout. So I don't want to pull up the information right now. I'll fix it later. Text in. You have to do it on your mobile phone, and you have to. I don't know. Buzzsprout really hasn't worked out the kinks on this yet, which is why I have to specifically describe to say just tap this message and you'll be directed to send us an SMS, not like an email. Mm-hmm. And then you can send a text to the website, and then we get it, and we get it as a text, and we see what you're saying and stuff. Some people ask questions, but I don't know how. It doesn't allow me to reply back, so I don't know how to go about that. But if you go to our podcast site, you should be able to see, if you scroll down halfway, you'll see things that say fan mail. And one says, "Hi, I'm a Therian. I can't find the Therians near me. Do you have any tips that could help me? I love you guys. I love your podcast from Atlanta, Georgia." So it does tell us where they're from, but it doesn't tell us who the person is. So it's completely anonymous.
Interesting.
But it's pretty cool. And so I've pushed a bunch of these. So every time you refresh, it should be a completely different person. And then I just refresh and now there's another one on there. So
what is the new one?
One says, "Hi from Reno, Nevada." Just a question mark. Another one says, let's see. "Hey everyone, I love listening to y'all's endless side tangents. Even though the ones that don't make it to the episodes, I'm excited to be a part of the best podcast team in the world. Love you, Crow." Oh, so Crow sent that. Shit.
Okay.
That must have been his test one.
Is that on the texts?
Yeah, that was on the text. Yeah. So
okay. Are there any others or?
There might be others. There should be others. "Hey SFTM, I'm so glad to be able to text now since emailing is a little more complicated." Not really, but okay. Phoenix, Arizona. Email has always been email. It's super easy to do. You open up your email, you type a message, and you send it. Super simple.
Now all they have to do is tap the little link at the bottom of the episode and type a little quick thing on their phone.
Mm-hmm. So
another, to be fair, we're going to be really bad at checking those text messages, y'all. So best way to reach us is definitely by email because we regularly check those. We regularly respond to those. As Space said, we can't respond to these texts. So
the texts are more or less like fan appreciation is what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't tell me who it's coming from. And there's no way for me to respond back to you other than we might read this on another episode. But that's not a guarantee because they just come in randomly as they go.
Yeah.
So the best way for, like Big said, if you want us to answer a question or you want to do a shout out, email us at talktothemuzzle@gmail.com. That's just for fan emails only.
And like I said, we check that regularly for Fangasms and just to kind of keep up with our listeners. So if you just want to say hi, shoot us a message. We're more likely to respond on email. Well, we can only respond on email. We can't respond through text. But if you really want us to respond, join our Telegram chat.
Yeah.
That's going to be the best option for you.
We just added a new member. So if you join the Telegram group, we do have some requirements. One being is you need to have a legit profile pic, not just your initials, because that sends a red flag. And 2, you need to have something in your profile. I don't really care what it is, as long as it says something. From there, either Dear Dog or myself will reach out to you and talk to you, and then from there decide if you get to join the group. This is how we rule out spammers, which we were having a big problem of last summer. Mm-hmm. But we put some things in place, so now that doesn't happen anymore.
That is good.
So yeah, that's all the real new stuff that's happened. Nothing else as exciting has happened other than that it's a new year. So hooray for that.
I was going to say nothing crazy I can think of.
Same shit, different year. It's what I say.
Right. Here's hoping this year's a little better than last year.
I'm hoping so too. Fingers crossed. We have 13 emails to go through. And yes, some of these are going to be from October, and then the other half are going to be through November and December, and then a little bit recently. So
we're trying to keep up, y'all. I promise.
I drew the short stick, so I will be reading the first email. It's not really. That's what we assigned.
I was going to say, drawing the short stick makes it sound like it's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing that I have to read the fan emails.
Oh, no.
Oh, can't someone just read it for me and then I can just answer that after that, you know? No, I'd have to hire a secretary or something. All right. So this email comes from Thrasher Fox. They said, "Hey, Space. Hope you're doing great. I've been listening to Straight from the Muzzle for almost 3 years now, and I just wanted to say thanks. The podcast has been a huge help while I've been finding my place in the furry community. I've been a furry since I was about 10, growing up around other furries, so it's always felt like home. But your show made it a lot easier to connect and feel understood. I was also wondering if you ever thought about doing an episode about extreme sports in the fandom." Yes. I'll get to that. I'm really into like rock climbing, and I think it'd be awesome to hear from other furs who are into climbing, skating, and other high adrenaline stuff. Also, I'm a Utah fur. Well, hot damn. There's a lot of Utah furs. There's a lot of Utah furs that like listen to our show. I have no idea who they are. So
to be fair, you don't get into the Utah community as much as you should.
I know, but there are reasons why I don't. Some of them most of them are excuses, but there are some legit ones in there. I figured I'd mention that since I know you're local too. My son is a skull dog named Kane. And yeah, I added that part since I know you've got a soft spot for skull dogs.
Century Space?
No.
No, you don't have a soft spot for skull dogs?
No, that's Sparrow. Sparrow has a soft spot for skull dogs. And I think Paradox does too. Well, okay. I think I do like them. I think it's the dino masks that I draw the line at. I can't stand them.
Fair. I do think there's a difference between
skull dogs,
dino masks and skull dogs.
Yeah.
Sometimes they overlap. I have seen. I don't think there's anything inherently bad about the dino masks.
It's more readily available. It's cheaper, especially for younger furs to kind of get in, and then they can like paint it and decorate it however they want to.
Exactly. It kind of allows younger furs to kind of get their foot into the fursuiting scene, I'd say. And for that reason, I'm in full support of it. It's just not like my cup of tea, you know?
Well, the last time I went to a woo, that's all I saw. Like 75% of the people there were just in dino masks. And I'm like, I'm so done. It was like within the first like 30 minutes of being at that con. And I'm like, are there any actual furries here? Sorry, I don't mean to be that like insensitive. It's just, that's the wave I see. And I'm a tall person, so I just see over everyone. And so I just see dino masks everywhere. But they were all kids, so that's not really fair.
Yeah. Like I said, it's their way of getting into it. And
yeah,
a woo is definitely, of all the cons out there, I support their parents taking them to a woo.
Yeah, a woo, I think so far as I know, besides Spooktacular, is like a 100% family-oriented driven con. So kids can go, parents go, no kinks allowed.
For those of you who don't know, a woo stands for Anthro Weekend Utah. So it's a very much family-driven, family-oriented con.
It is also Utah's most successful con because the other ones failed.
I was going to say, it's Utah's only con.
Well, there have been attempts in the past years to create a con. I think there was one. I'm trying to remember what they were. I've got the pictures in my mind. Oh, there was one called War, which was...
I've heard of War.
It was something Anthro... I can't remember. I know the middle word was Anthro. It was a really cool name, but it never went anywhere.
The W would be like Wasatch.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Wasatch, Anthro... And I don't know what the R stood for. And then there was one before that. Maybe it was Retreat. It could have been something else. And then before that, there was a couple other cons that it was like a game con, furry run kind of thing. But it never really panned out. And that's because people got, politics and friendships. A lot of people drew the line. I'm like, this is why I don't run cons.
Fair.
And I don't run cons with friends. If I did. Except for my crew. I think I'd do it with my crew. Anyways, back to their email. Figured I'd mention this since I know you're local. Oh, I already read that part. Thanks again for all your work you put into the podcast. It's genuinely one of my favorites. Sorry this email is so long. Never be sorry. Best Kane. So the thing is I searched high and low in like the Utah furry groups. I could not find anyone by the name of Kane who was a skull dog. So send us a picture.
Out there, show yourself.
Show yourself. Yeah. So send us a reply back and tell us, a little bit more about yourself. If you have any social links, let us know so that I can kind of get a better idea of who you are.
I would also love to see those. I know I mentioned it before. I'm also a previous Utah furry. I live in Arizona now. But yeah, I can't remember any specific skull dog named Kane from my time in the Utah furry community.
It would be a cool fursona. Would be like a sugar skull dog. You can call them Sugar Cane. That'd be a cool name. So you're like, it's got Hispanic themes in it.
Oh, yes.
Like a sugar skull. Like a sugar skull, but then you add a skull dog on it. So it's a sugar skull dog, and the dog's name is Sugar Cane.
Yeah. I've seen those. I've seen those around. It's been a minute. I'd have to take another look, but I've definitely seen those.
Yeah.
Or at least one's kind of like nodding towards that.
Going back to one of the things they pointed out, so extreme sports. I do follow a few furries that do extreme sports, also free running, which is a really cool one. And I know of one furry that I've been trying to get Kira and I to get secure with is, oh my God, Kinora, European fur who does extreme sports like skydiving and all that fun stuff in fursuit.
I would love to go skydiving in fursuit.
I would not. I would like to live. Thank you. A 370-pound man flying from the sky does not end well if the parachute doesn't open. It's going to create a crater.
I was gonna say you started saying that, and I was just pictured. I wonder what that crater would look like.
Right. So, yeah. All right, you're next.
I am next. So our next... Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Hold on.
Do we call them... Do they identify themselves as a name?
Yes. So our next email is from Percival Wimbledon. And they address their later emails as Percy. So we'll call him Percy for ease of pronunciation.
Yeah.
I can only say Percival so many times before I start tongue twisting it.
Percival
Wimbledon. All right, so Percy says, hello, I am a 49-year-old furry who is new to the fandom, and I'd love to hear an episode on gray muzzles. To be honest, I sometimes worry I might be too old to fully participate. Oh, sorry, I should preface this. This is an email that we did previously read in the last Fangasms, and they just wanted to respond.
But this is kind of like...
We're recapping a little bit just to kind of... Just with all the confusion that we talked about earlier,
on
we're
our previous
recapping
episode.
Some of them. Previously on Straight from the Muzzle. He says, to be honest, I sometimes worry I might be too old to fully participate. I remember we talked about that. Most of the people I see who are active in the community seem much younger, and I don't want to feel out of place or like I don't belong. I've thought about buying a partial fursuit and going to cons or local meetups, but my concern about age has held me back, and none of my friends are furries, and when I've mentioned the idea of going to a furry club night, reaction has mostly been polite ambivalence.
What does that mean?
Ambivalence? I know what that means, but then you asked and my brain said, fuck you.
The state of having mixed feelings or contradictory items about something or someone.
Yes.
Those dicks. Sorry. I know we've already responded to this, but I'm listening to it as if it's like a new email.
Fair. I'd really appreciate hearing from other gray muzzles about their experience, how they navigate the fandom, make friends, what role they feel older members play in the community today. I don't remember if I talked about this last time, but I'm pretty sure since summer/fall Fangasms, last Fangasms we did, I met a furry down in Phoenix who I think he's on the board for PDFC, which is Painted Desert Fur Con. It's Arizona's local furry convention, but he is an older gentleman who, basically helps run PDFC as one of its chairs. So I definitely think there is a place for gray muzzles, and I absolutely adore all gray muzzles. They're just so interesting to speak with and learn from and interact with. And I know I said it last time, but God, I love gray muzzles. They're so cool.
It's funny that you mentioned would you say PDC?
PDFC.
Because I was in a chat, or I still am in a chat, and someone had mentioned their disdain for the con. And so I was just like, when you said it, I'm like, oh, oh, I wonder. And then it can't be because there's no way there is any connection between the person, whatever. But I just thought it was funny that you had mentioned that.
Fair. So. Anyways, so the reason we read this email is because he sent another couple days after we read his original email. So he said, hello again. Sorry to bother, but I had an idea for a guest for the show on gray muzzles. I was listening to Straight from the Muzzle and somebody mentioned a furry named Tabin. It turns out he has a podcast called Barely Fur Casting, and I think the hosts are all older folks like me. They seem to do a lot of volunteering in the community and are all queer. Maybe one of them could join an episode for a collaboration. Thanks again. Love the show. Please never stop, Percy.
So,
do you want to say it? Do you want to say it first, or should I? I'll let you say it.
I'm about 95% sure we did one with them already. I just have to figure out where it is. And in fact, I know that we've done one. And I've met Tabin. He's very energetic. And if he is old, you would never know.
I believe it.
All I know about Tabin is just one simple fact that he says over and over and over again, I'm just a pup. I have never seen him outside of fursuit. I have never been able to get him to reveal anything about himself other than the fact that he's just a pup. So I have no idea how old he is. For all I know, he could be 60, but he's got like the energy of like an 18-year-old, and I just don't understand it. So it's just killing me. I gotta go back and find this.
I was going to say, I find it funny because I know Tabin, he does listen to our show, right? Yeah. I know he's in our Telegram chat, and he's very active in our Telegram chat. So we are very familiar with Tabin. I don't know, maybe it would be worth reaching out, but
we could always bring him back on again.
Who knows? We might run into that wall of, I'm just a pup.
I'm just a pup. So the
then
great
again, maybe
thing
he
about
can point us in the direction of some gray muzzles who would want to be interviewed.
I could think of a few.
I was going to say, I can think of some, but yeah.
The great thing about Tabin is that he focuses mostly on, from what I know, fitness and building yourself up through empowerment. Mm-hmm. So he's a really nice guy. From the couple of times I've met him at a con and then interviewed him. I still can't find that interview, but I know it's here.
I know there's been one. I searched Buzzsprout and I can't find it, but I remember that episode.
It's gotta be there. It's gotta be there. Or maybe I was on their podcast and I never interviewed them for ours. I think that's what it is, because I don't even have one.
Yeah, I'm not seeing one in the...
Okay, so I was on their podcast, but I have never brought them onto ours. So...
Okay, maybe we should do that then.
We need to bring them onto our show. But yeah, and then they sent another email following up from that.
They sent one more. Percy then wrote... Oh my gosh, you read my email. Thank you so much. I was absolutely thrilled when I heard it, and it sounded like there was interest in making a Gray Muzzle episode happen at some point. Very exciting. Thank you also for the referral to the Gray Muzzles group on Facebook. And
yay,
said, wag.
Yay, I'm in that group.
Really? Interesting. I think you mentioned that.
I'm
right?
39. I'm in the Gray Muzzle zone. There are two zones for furry: young and Gray Muzzle. That's it.
See, I technically fall in the young category, but I've been in the fandom for coming up on 10 years now, which I don't know. I've seen so much stuff happen in the fandom that I sometimes feel like a Gray Muzzle, and that might be heresy of me to say, but it's been so long and I've seen so much that I feel like a veteran. Compared to like all of my friends who joined the fandom like 2-3 years ago, and I've been here for the last almost 10. It's just crazy to me.
Just as a reminder to all of our youngers that follow and listen to us, the fandom was built on Gray Muzzles. And so it's thanks to them that you actually have a furry fandom. Would it have happened later on if they hadn't done it? Sure. But as it stands, the fandom was built on Gray Muzzles. And that's it.
I wouldn't say built on Gray Muzzles, because you kind of
built by Gray Muzzles.
Built by those who are now Gray Muzzles is what I'd say.
I don't know. I mean, I think they were kind of old when they started. They were like in their 40s.
Kind of. I guess there's a lot of definitions. Some define Gray Muzzles as people who have been in the fandom for many years. Others define them as furries who are just old. But I think in order to have Gray Muzzles, you'd have to have an established fandom for at least a handful of years. I don't know. What I'm saying is the people who are Gray Muzzles now oftentimes were the people who were there at the very beginning.
Yeah. So I wasn't there at the very beginning, but I do play a role. So with podcasting. So we've been around for a while. I myself am 39. Some people might think that's old. I still feel young at heart. I think most people do.
You definitely look young.
Do I though? I guess I do. It's probably the colored hair.
No, trust me. I have seen, like, working in retail, you see a lot of shit. And I have seen a lot of people way younger than you look 4 times older.
Oh my God.
Believe me when I say you have not met the 25-year-old who has a chain smoking problem and looks 86.
It's funny. I asked my coworkers because they're all up around my age. And I'm just like, how old do you guys think I am? And they're like, 38. Someone's like 40. And I'm like, any other takers? No one else said anything. I'm like, you guys are awful. I am 38. So yeah, it wasn't built on gray muzzles, but it was built by, I guess you could say, yeah, folks that are now technically great muzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Gray muzzles. But it's all thanks to them, though, in the end, because without them, we wouldn't have what we have now. So.
I definitely have seen a lot of that kind of stuff where it's like, gray muzzles need to leave. And it's like, no, absolutely not. You get out.
This is our fandom. Go away.
Okay.
Incoming rant.
I have some strong opinions when it comes to people saying who should and should not be a part of the fandom. And I'm sure I voiced some of those on this podcast, but I don't think it's fair to say that certain demographics or certain people aren't allowed in our fandom because it was built as a place for everybody to be loved and accepted and equal in their love of anthro characters. And to say that certain groups should not be allowed in the fandom or that they are guests in the fandom space is fucking mind-blowing to me, and I wholeheartedly disagree with it, and I have very strong opinions on that.
Well, they're coming from younger furries, that's the thing.
Who have been here for like 2 years.
So, and that's the typical mindset. So you're young, you're listening to this, and you're probably thinking, that's not right. But truthfully, we've seen it. So generally when people join in the fandom, they get really excited and they kind of just go everywhere and do their thing. And then they are with their younger furries, not like young as in they've been in the fandom for only a year. I'm talking like actual age, like usually between the ages of 10 to like 21. Some people are really susceptible to believing maybe things that aren't true or will take on a trend and think that's the actual fact. And so they make a decision and then they make these statements, and it's like, you need to chill. Calm your tits and chill.
Moral of the story, gray muzzles belong. We love the gray muzzles. We need the gray muzzles. They absolutely have a place within our community, and I will not hear any other opinions on it. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
We're pretty cool.
I am not sorry.
We're pretty cool. So I think we're good.
Yes.
There's a lot of cool gray muzzles out there. All right. My next email comes from Rowan. Hello, Rowan here. I'm not a furry, but I am a Therian, and I absolutely love your podcast. I am a non-binary lesbian. Congrats. And I have very homophobic, everything phobic parents. I've heard the homophobic. I love the other part. And listening to you guys always cheers me up and reminds me that I'm not alone. I know I just missed the last FANGASMS, but I hope this can be on the next one. Also, do you guys have any tips on finding your preferred name? I'm unsure if I want to keep Rowan or not, and I really need tips.
Can I share something on this? I'll let you share your thing first.
Okay. So there's a couple ways you can do this. Okay. I'm going to mention the more ridiculous ways to go at. You can find your name doing like, what are they called when you pay someone on the street to have sex with you?
A whore?
No, they're called something else.
Prostitution.
So yeah, there's like prostitute generator names. Those are always fun to use.
That's awful.
No, it's great. No. Yeah, because I want to create one. I have one. I just want to create an alter ego to space. And the name would be Toby Askenblow. So,
space.
What?
No.
But okay. So you could go down. I'm just mentioning that one because that's the funniest in my brain. But There's ways you can always use generators to come up with random things. It could also be things that are fond in your memories, like things you've done in the past, things that you like, things you want to do in the future. Mine comes from a comic called Calvin and Hobbes. So in the comic, the kid is named Calvin, but he goes into his like alter ego, which is Spaceman Spiff, which was technically my actual nickname outside of the fandom. And so I converted that name into basically the fandom version, which was originally Space Dog Spiff, and then has now been evolutionized to Space Bear Sparks. But the name always stays the same at the beginning. It's always Space. And that's because it reminds me of my favorite comic growing up. So it all depends on how you want to name it. We can tell you different ways of doing it, but ultimately it comes down to what you honestly feel. And Rowan is a really good name for in between because it kind of could be a female, more feminine name, or it could be also a really masculine name. It just depends on how you view it.
It's definitely one of those kind of gender fluid names, I think.
Yeah. Like, what is it? There's
Alex.
Oh, yeah. Alex.
Heard Alex. Before.
Taylor.
Heard Taylor before.
Brian.
There's lots out there.
Just kidding. Brian's not one of them. I just wanted to throw one off. Okay. What is your thoughts? Obviously not a prostitute generator name.
No. And I mean, generators work. I personally think that, especially for looking for your preferred name, usually that's something you want to have a little more emotional connection with than some random online generator, you know? Like my name, I went through so many different variations before I settled on Bix. I think I had at least like 12, 13 different names. When I originally made my character, his name was Midway, and he was named after the street I grew up on and kind of like the neighborhood that I lived in growing up. And every name variation, I mean, let's see, his name was Midway, and then I named him Ardu. Then I named him Bravo, and I named him Targi, and there was like, I had a whole era where his name was Kipo, because there was a show I liked on Netflix. But every time I'd have his name for a while, and then it just kind of wouldn't sit right with me. I have a sketchbook where there's 3 pages full of different names just because nothing ever felt quite right to me. And then I was reading a book shortly after lockdown ended, and in that book there was a character named Bix, and it just felt right to me. So I adopted the name, and since then I never felt off or out of place the way I did with all the other names. All the other names, after a certain period of time, I just wouldn't be happy with it. And so for me, it was a lot of trial and error. Now, granted, that was for my persona's name. I still use my given name, the name my parents gave for me, but I will say this, over time, the name Bix has been more synonymous with my everyday life than my given name, and it has just kind of become that way. I wouldn't say Bix is necessarily my preferred name, but that's where it has gone to where now all my friends, my coworkers, people at school, they call me Bix now just because that's kind of what I'm used to. My whole point is it's a very personal thing that sometimes it's just trial and error. A lot of times you won't find the name that you want the first time. You might think something sounds cool, and a week later it just doesn't fit you. So it takes time and it takes patience. I had Bix for 5 years before I finally found the name that fit him. And that might sound discouraging, but I promise you it is absolutely worth it.
Well said.
Let's see. Our next email is from...
Do we call them Reinventor?
Let's go with that because I'm not sure.
Okay.
So we'll call this one Reinventor. And they said, hey, I'm a new listener to the show and I'm liking it a lot. I've been a net fur for a long time. They mentioned they joined Fur Affinity in 2006. I do want to just say a net fur, for those who don't know, is a furry who primarily is involved in the online space of the fandom, not necessarily like fur meets and cons. They typically stick to those online spaces.
Oh, then I would be considered a net fur then.
Mm-hmm. But recently have begun to write books. My newest story is a romantasy, so a romance fantasy about a minotaur and a tanuki who eventually fall for each other. It's been gaining traction on Wattpad, a few faves on Fur Affinity, but I'm really hoping to take this story mainstream. It's very Ghibli-esque. So I was hoping you guys would be open to another book review. The name of the book is Whispers of the Silent Age. The first part is complete and the second is being released. It can be found on Fur Affinity, like I mentioned earlier, on itch.io, but mainly on Wattpad. I'm including a link to the story. If you're not comfortable with links, I can provide a file. No print yet. That is hopefully in the near future, but I would love to get some more love from the community. Thanks and tail wags, Reinventor.
So... Remember how I had my Fur Affinity, because we were searching for things earlier, and I was like, oh, try doing SFW mode. And I left it on SFW. So I clicked on the Fur Affinity link, and it's like, sorry, this is mature content. And I'm like, what? But I'm looking at the keywords, and I'm not seeing anything that would really make it considerably mature, other than maybe some keywords like male, romance, and love story. So who knows what's actually in this story itself? But I'd be game to give it a read.
I'm open to book reviews always.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely something we'll probably have to go through before we make a decision on that, just to make sure it's appropriate for all our viewers. I know we have some younger audiences, so that is a factor, but I'm open to it. I'm definitely open to it. I need more books to read. Same.
I've got picture books, but without words. I need to get my wording.
That feels on par for you for some reason.
I know. I'm a simple man.
Man.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we'd be more than happy to do that. We'll give it a read, and then we'll let you know. Might take us a little bit, though, so don't expect an answer right away. Okay, our next email comes from Toasty. I have not pre-read this. I have no idea what it means. Usually we proofread these emails, but I just saw art and I was like, oh, that's cute. I'm going to read it. So, hey, I go by Toasty Online. I just recently found this podcast with another podcast called Unpaused. I'm not sure if you guys have answered this question before, but I was wondering, when you first started in the fandom, did you receive backlash from anyone? And what did you do? I'm asking because I've been in the fandom since 2012, but I've taken so many long breaks due to others' opinions on my hobby. I was very young when I first started. I think I was 9. So, of course, what others said about me stuck a lot more than it would now. Thankfully, I'm a lot more confident in myself, and instead of hiding my art when a friend comes over, it stays out, because if he doesn't like it, then leave. Good for you. I like that.
I support it.
But yeah, I'm enjoying the podcast so far, and I wanted to share my persona, Rumo. Or it could be Rummo. It could be either one. That I'm making into a suit very soon, hopefully December 2025. So maybe you've got it now since we're in 26. Thanks. Also, I attached my old persona from around 10 years ago. I think it's crazy the progress I've made despite the hiatus. So, and then they also sent us their username for TikTok and Instagram is @Toasty Coyote. And that is TOASTIECOYOTE. So if you guys want
all one word.
That. All one word. I'm just looking at these pictures.
I gotta say, the one that they said is from around 10 years ago feels very on par for the fandom 10 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone was into that kind of...
the emo character style.
What are they called? Like, there's neons?
The edgy furs.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what they called them, but yeah.
Sparrow has a specific name for them, and I can't remember for the life of me what she uses, but it's maybe they're Sparkle Dogs?
Sparkle Dogs were also 10 years ago, but they weren't the emo ones. They were the overly colored, rainbow sparkly, the ones that looked like rainbow vomit is how I've heard them described.
Now, if they drew this 10 years ago, they're clearly an artist. So
yes,
I'm assuming that the new piece of artwork was done by them, unless it was done by someone else. But I think it was done by them because it doesn't have a classic signature on it yet. But it's a dramatic difference in pictures.
Indeed.
I'll create a doc so you guys can see these pictures and you can see them for yourselves. But I like both of them, but you can definitely tell the difference.
See the time difference. Yeah. I like it.
That's fun. All right. Moving on. Oh, wait.
All right.
Did they have a question there?
They did. They did. Yes.
They did.
Ooh.
Almost skipped it. Just like
do you want me to start or do you want to start?
Okay. So I've never received any backlash for people knowing me as a furry. Generally, when people find out, or if it's a coworker, and they give me the brow, and that's generally when the brow raises, I go, yes, that does happen, but that's not what I do. So I acknowledge that sex happens in the fandom because sex happens everywhere. But I acknowledge that that is definitely something that's prominent in the fandom. And then I just move on.
I was going to say, I do think that goes back to the fandom being built by the now gray muzzles. It was definitely an adult space.
Oh, yeah.
When it started. And it's just kind of grown to encompass younger audiences now.
But I think that's very bold of you to leave your artwork out when a friend comes over, because if they don't like it, go ahead and leave, or they don't have to be a friend. Also, it doesn't really, I like that they called it a hobby and not necessarily like a lifestyle, though furry can be a lifestyle.
There's definitely maybe not a spectrum.
I'm thinking of like
kind of a
when
spectrum.
People come out as furry, and that drives me nuts when they say, I'm coming out as a furry. And I'm like, no, you're not. You come out as gay or lesbian or trans. You don't come out as a furry. That's not a thing.
I was going to say, I didn't really receive a ton of backlash when I joined the furry community. I was in elementary and middle school. I was like the wolf boy kid. Like, you have horse girls, right, who just absolutely obsess over horses. And I was kind of like that. I obsessed over wolves during that time. And I wore, like, I had this little hat with wolf ears on it. It was one of those ones that had like the little dangly paws that you could put your hands in. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Typical Hot Topic stuff.
It wasn't Hot Topic. It was one of those ones you get from cheap Chinese sites. And then my nickname back then was Wolfie, partially because of that. And in middle school, I had a lot of people like ask me, hey, are you a furry? Is that what this is? Like, are you a member of the furry fandom? I had no idea what that was. No clue whatsoever. And so I did my own research, and that's kind of what led me to joining the fandom. But I think I didn't have a ton of backlash from my peers because everybody already thought I was a furry and just kind of went with it. And so when I did join the furry fandom, nobody was surprised. Absolutely no one.
Yeah.
I did come out to my parents as a furry. Looking back, God, I cringed so much. Like, I had a full sit down with my dad, and Dad, I'm a furry. And I cringed going back and thinking about it. I can't really say that I had any like real backlash myself, but I know it happens. And I know there's definitely resources for that kind of thing to help educate people who don't quite understand the fandom or who just don't know what it is in its entirety. We've mentioned Fur Science a lot of times on the show, and I think that is a great resource and will always continue to be a great resource for explaining to people what the furry fandom is.
Anthrocons website also has a good explanation as well.
Yeah, that's another really good resource. So there's definitely resources. There's definitely people you can talk to, but I can't say that I had any real kind of outstanding backlash whenever it would come up with my coworkers, which normally it didn't, but after a time they would find out, they'd see my phone's wallpaper or see something that kind of incriminated me. And yeah, there were eyebrows raised, but then they just drop it and sometimes kind of give me shit about it, which is fine because I have that relationship with my coworkers where all my coworkers really were, I'd give them shit for things and they give me shit for things. And at the end of the day, we were all still friends. So yeah, that's been my experience.
Cool. All right. Next email.
Our next email is from Solaris.
Could be Solaris.
I don't know if there's a lot of different pronunciations of
Solar
that. Solar is. They said, hello there, Space, Pix, and Paradox. And I just wanted to say this because I think it's really funny. They spelled my name with a P. P-I-X, Pix. For future reference, for anybody wondering, it is B as in boy, Y-X. B-Y-X.
B-Y-X.
Just for future reference, just so nobody's confused, because I know my name is it's often misheard and misunderstood, but just for anybody wondering. And they said, I was wondering if you can give me a list of Telegram groups that are safe for work and be able to chat with the members there. Also, can you send me some Telegram furries that are Pokemon? I sincerely hope this will be featured in the next Fangasm. From Solaris.
Okay. I now remember this email. I've spent a lot more time than I should have searching for SFW Telegram groups. And I got to tell you, majority of them are just not safe for work.
Yes.
It's been so hard to find one. I don't really know how. Have you found any?
I'm in a very small handful.
I guess you could always join like convention chat groups.
Convention chat groups. Some of them are not safe for work, but there are safe for work ones usually. There, of course, is our group.
Yes.
A lot of times there is local groups that are safe for work, local to your area or your state that you can look for. Like I know Utah has its own group, Idaho has its own group, Arizona has its own group. They all have safe for work groups, and then they all have not safe for work groups. Another one I'd like to mention is the Italian fur posting group. They do have a safe for work group as well as a not safe for work group. Their safe for work group is limited to 16 and over, but it's definitely a good one. It's very active, and it's fun to talk with people in there sometimes. I say sometimes because other times you got 40-year-old toddlers whining and complaining in chat, and it's just something else. You can look up Italian fur posting. You'll find their meme channel, and then you can find their group chats from there.
As far as the second question goes, I know of a few furries on Telegram that questionably are Pokemon, but I'm not comfortable just giving out their username.
Definitely not something we like to do here. That'd be something where you'd have to kind of find them in a group and then kind of
message them from there.
And of course, I always encourage people to ask people to DM them before just DMing them.
In other words, do the work yourself.
Not because we don't. I don't really want to. I'm sorry, but it's not like we can just give you people's contact information.
Yeah, it's just, because Telegram works in a different way. It's more of like a personal, it has all your contacts in there if they're on Telegram and stuff, but I have never actively given out anyone's like username to other people on Telegram unless specified that it's okay from that one particular person or so.
Yes, Telegram is, for a lot of people, an extension of their phone number. It's like giving out random people's phone numbers.
Yeah.
You don't really do it unless that person has signified they're okay with that in any way. So that's something you'd have to ask about. But yes, local chats, con chats. I know there's specific interest chats that are safe for work, like car furries usually have their own chats. I'm in a handful of those. And then there's a lot of Discord groups that you can find on like Discord that are safe for work that you can join. Some of them are age restricted, so keep that in mind. But there are a lot more options on Discord as far as safe for work goes.
Yes.
And that's what I have to say on that one.
Our next email comes from Furry X, and they said, "Hi, you're really cool." That's it.
Hello.
Hi.
I don't know you, but you're probably really cool too.
Yeah.
Thanks for messaging us. We love to hear it.
Next email.
Alrighty. Our next email is from, I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce this. Is it
they put it in parentheses on how to pronounce it.
Oh wait, they did? Oh, Seawick. I got it right. Okay, I didn't see that part. Okay, so their email reads, "Good evening, straight from the Muzzle team. If you guys read this in your next Fangasms episode, then you can refer to me as Seawick. Thank you. I am sending this email because during one of your recent episodes, Summer Fangasms 2025, Bix mentioned that they are a fandom history nerd. With that, I'd like to share my experience of being in the fandom within Southern California. The reason why this geographic area is so important is because of the fact that the fandom essentially began here. For example, the first ever furry convention began in Costa Mesa, which was Conference Zero, and I think it was held at a Red Lion Hotel in Costa Mesa.
I know Costa Mesa. I'm sorry. I'm from San Diego, so I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which also happens to be the city adjacent to the one I live in. Additionally, the Prancing Skiltare, the house owned by Rodney and the late Mark Merlino, who we did do an episode on, is in Garden Grove, which I'm so disappointed because I always wanted to go to a house party at the Prancing Skiltare and meet Rodney and Mark because, they're so cool and I've always wanted to meet them. Unfortunately, that is not a viable option anymore. I would love to visit their home and just kind of hear their stories. But their house is in Garden Grove, which is also not too far from the first ever furry convention. Going on to my actual experience, I have been so lucky to have been able to meet the late Mark and Rodney at local fur meets and cons. God, I'm so jealous of you, like, actually. I remember having an extensive conversation with them at a fur meet about where the best location for another SoCal con would be. However, something that saddens me was the fact that every con or meet that they went to, it seemed as if no one knew who they were. Admittedly, I have only been going to meets and cons for about 4 years now, so I do not know how well known they were before I started going. Regardless, it seems the new generation of furries are not aware of the origins of the fandom, and that makes me sad. That is definitely something I personally have seen. A lot of people are not as interested in where the fandom started. And like I said, there is a lot of discourse around gray muzzles in the fandom. So I do think it is a little sad, but there are still a lot of people who know who Rodney and Mark are. There are still a lot of people carrying their story on. And I think that's important to keep in mind. I am so glad to have been able to speak to Mark Merlino and show my gratitude before he passed. I actually visited him about a week before he passed away to show my appreciation for his efforts to build such a vast community we experience today. I also attended his funeral, and it was so nice to be able to see the community come together in a way that I have never seen before, and to also celebrate the efforts of Mark. Apologies if this email comes off as rambly. I figured that sharing my experiences of being a furry in SoCal definitely fall in line with Bix's interest in the history of the fandom. I would love to share more about my experience of being a furry here in SoCal, because this region is in a pretty unique position. For example, there are dozens of different fur meets that occur around the region, and they are all run by dozens of people. I think it depends on the area, but I know there's a lot of that, and then there's a lot that are just kind of run by one community. I know in Utah, we have U2F2, the United Utah Furry Fandom, and there are a lot of meets hosted by individual people, but kind of run and organized under the U2F2 name, while in other areas like here in Arizona, like down in Phoenix, there's a lot of meets. From what I have seen thus far, there's not really one overarching group kind of overseeing it all. So I do think that is interesting how that works in different regions. Regardless, I hope you guys are able to see this. Thank you for reading this far, and thank you for making one of the best podcasts in the fandom. Lastly, I'd like to add that I'm also a furry that is starting social work. Send my regards to Kira, because seeing another furry in the social work field is so exciting, and I would love to connect and talk about the profession. Best, Seawick. I also find that interesting because my dad does social work. My dad's a social worker for the state of Idaho.
It takes a very unique and special person to do social work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot in there. I went to a San Diego Furs meet once. That was fun.
I'd love to go. We've been trying to get down to San Diego for a while now. I know my partner has a lot of friends down there, so I would love to kind of get involved in that community. As far as cons in SoCal, I know they have, I think it's a Quadifur, or no, it's not a Quadifur. It was another furry con, and now it's Anthro SoCal. They just renamed it.
Do they have FC, or is that one since gone away? Further Confusion?
Is that one? Let's see, where is Further Confusion? San Jose, California. Okay, so yeah, they do have Further Confusion. But somebody was saying that there wasn't really a furry con in Southern California. I was like, I don't know if that's true, but let's see. It was Anthro SoCal.
Golden State Fur Con.
Golden State Fur Con, that is North California.
Los Angeles.
Is it Los Angeles?
So Los Angeles is still part of Southern California.
Oh, well, clearly people were lying to me at PDFC.
They probably got it mixed. Some people think that
so.
It's like when people say, I know the Bay Area, and then they're like, San Francisco. And I'm like, no, San Diego Bay. Hello. There's multiple bays in California.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really cool email. I also sent your regards to Kira for her to see as well. I'm sure she'll appreciate that. And maybe I can get you in contact with her as well, if she allows it. All right. Oh, here's the other gray muzzle one.
Yes.
So our next email comes from Jasper Blue Wolf, and they have to say this. Hey guys, I love your podcast. I've been listening regularly for the past 3 years. At 43, I am very much a gray muzzle. I've been in the fandom around the early 2000s. I grew up with shows like Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, Space Jam, like the tits. My first exposure to more
Wait, you're not going to read what's in the parentheses?
What? Honestly, this is what they said. Honestly, how could 90s kids not grow up to be furries? So true.
Real question, honestly.
Yeah. My first exposure to more adult content were artists like James M. Hardiman and Jay Naylor. Not sure if you guys are familiar with them. I'm not.
Don't go looking them up if you shouldn't be.
They might have. I wonder if they have like pen names.
Oh.
So
Jim Hardiman did Skunkworks.
What about Jay Naylor?
Jay Naylor, I recognize that name. I've definitely seen some of Jay Naylor's stuff. I just have to remember. Hold on, give me a second.
While you think of that, I'm going to continue reading.
Yes, go ahead.
I've only recently become more active in the fandom. I recently got my first partial fursuit. I adopted him as a pre-made and have been developing my persona around him. He's a black and blue wolf named Jasper. I'll be attending my first con with him next year, Vernal Equinox in Toronto. I'm so excited. I've started to make TikToks with Jasper, mostly just simple clips with trending audio. You can find him at Jasper Blue Wolf. Hope I sent this in time for the next Fangasms episode. Take care. Happy holidays. Straight for the muzzle team. And so they did send some pictures. Really cute fursuit.
I do like it. I have seen a lot of pre-mades look like that one.
As far as like the James and the Jay Naylor goes, if you're young, do not look up those names. And of course, I can't stop you from doing that. But if you want to continue being in the fandom and you don't want your parents to all of a sudden walk in on you with this, I suggest not looking it up until you're 18 or 17, depending on your standards of what country you come from. Let's move on to the next one.
All right. Next one is, this one's going to be from Furry X. I was wondering if I could be on a podcast with you guys. I've been in the furry fandom for the past 7 years and I haven't come out about it to my family and would like to hear some advice from you guys.
Okay. So
don't do what I did.
You don't come out as furry. Okay. It's a hobby, not a gender. Am I right? I always get gender and what's the other one?
Gender and sexuality.
Sexuality is like gay, right?
It's who you like, yes. So you come out as
I'm so bad
gay.
at this.
That's sexuality.
Okay. So it's not a sexuality. You don't come out as furry. It's just a hobby. It's not like you go up to your parents and you say, I'm a woodworker. Gasp! You know, like it's just not something you do. Now, of course, it would be something like, you know, mom, dad, for 10 years, I was a Russian soldier. That's different, you know, but like you don't come out to your family as furry. It's just something that you do. It's a hobby that you have. It really doesn't need an introduction to anyone specifically.
And really, I mean, there's nothing that says you have to tell them.
Yeah.
It's just something you do in your own time. It doesn't need to concern them. It's none of their business what you do with your free time. So it's up to you, really, if you end up choosing to or not. But yes, it's definitely not something you come out as. It's just something you do.
Yeah.
Right? Some people treat it as a lifestyle. I know that I definitely kind of sometimes fall into that category, but it's not an identity in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people see it as disrespectful to people who do come out about their sexuality because it's seen as a lot less of a serious thing compared to sexuality and gender. So, sorry, go ahead.
As far as about being on the podcast, we select our guests very specifically. We do get a lot of requests from fans asking to be on the podcast, but it's not necessarily always suitable. So, essentially, I am saying no, but maybe sometime in the future that could change.
What I would say is tell us some interesting things about yourself, right? I'm not saying tell us some interesting things about yourself and then we will interview you to be on the podcast, but maybe there's something that you do for a career or you do as another hobby or something you're knowledgeable about that we are looking for guests to come on and speak about, right? Like gray muzzles. We're trying to find somebody who will come on and talk about gray muzzles. So there's nothing wrong with letting us know because maybe there's something you have that we want on the podcast. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but it is something that might help your chances. I don't know. Space, you can disagree with that if you want, but
no,
I definitely think that's something you could try.
All right. Our next email comes from Wolfie. Hi, Space. Thanks. My name is Wolfie. I hope you are doing well. I wanted to ask you a question. The question I wanted to ask you was, what is a baby fur and why do people hate it? Okay, so this is a hot topic. Hot in a good way and hot and also in a bad way. It just depends on how you take it. Now, to define what a baby fur is part of a community called ABDL, which is Adult Baby Diaper Lover. It's usually AB/DL most of the time. But if we ask Google what a baby fur is, I can tell you that a baby fur is a person in the fandom who combines the interest from the furry community with the adult baby diaper lover community, ABDL, role-playing as a younger, childlike furry character often involving baby items, baby talk, and sometimes diapers for comfort or play with a non-sexual content of regression and comfort. It's a subculture focused on enjoying childhood themes through furry personas, distinct from simply liking cute baby-themed art within the fandom. This is a topic we're going to touch lightly on because we're just not quite sure if we want to delve into this.
It's a very sensitive topic.
Yes.
And so we want to treat it with the proper sensitivity it needs.
So I think people hate it because generally, when people don't understand certain things, they tend to have a fear built onto that. And then they also form an opinion because they don't know anything about that interest. So a lot of people either just don't understand it or they've never really taken the time to look into it. Now, if I look at it from both sides, I can see both arguments. Yes, it's a good thing because it's allowing you to go back into a time frame of when you were a child when you're probably the happiest.
It's therapeutic for a lot of people to be able to do that. It is.
Yeah.
I believe it is like in some
lifestyle.
cases a lifestyle, but in some cases, don't quote me on this. I might be wrong, but I feel like I have heard rumors that it is like an actual kind of
coping mechanism,
but like, and also like therapy, like an actual practice used in therapy sometimes to help people move on from trauma. Don't quote me on that.
It could
but
be.
I have heard rumors of that. And it does seem like something that one might do in therapy to move on from past hardships. It's definitely something that a lot of people do to find comfort and safety.
Now, I'm on the side that I don't see any problem with it. I know I have lots of friends that are in the ABDL community. I myself, and I'm just going to out myself because I'll just say it, I like diapers. I think they're interesting. There's a lot of components that go into it, but I wouldn't say I'm a baby fur. I'm just more of a DL, essentially. So I'm on the other side of that spectrum. But I don't know. It all depends on how you view it. So if you want to put in the research, go for it and then form an opinion. Or if you want to be like those people that don't care about certain things and just want to form an opinion based off of hearsay, then go be a dick. So there you go.
I do think that the other thing is a lot of kind of discourse has come up about it because there are definitely bad apples within the ABDL community who have come out to be
bad people
who have come out to be predators. And so a lot of people, and I don't think this is necessarily fair to the majority of the community. Some have been outed as predators, but that doesn't make them all predators. However, people in other communities who see this from the outside like to make that connection and just say that, oh, you like ABDL, you're a predator. That's not necessarily the case. A lot of people will tell you that, though. And so for that reason, I say do your own research because there's definitely people who do use it as a coping mechanism. It's not a kink thing. It's not sexual. It is a coping mechanism, a means of therapy for a lot of people. And so calling all of them predators is not fair. But that, again, is why we want to touch lightly on this subject and not delve too deep into it and say something potentially harmful.
I will say this, and this will come to a shocker to some, that the ABDL community is way bigger than the furry community. I can testify to that.
Infinitely bigger.
Way more popular.
Way bigger.
Way bigger than you think it is.
You think there's a lot of furry
way
cons?
more widespread.
Gosh, yeah, no, it is
there
massive.
Are all types. There are twinks. There are muscle guys. I've seen some muscly guys. And I'm just like, I would have never thought that this would be something that you're interested in. So it's wide. It's got a ton of people, both men and women. They come from all different sexualities. It's just a diverse community. It's the same thing as the furry community. If we want to point this in a direction that all of you are familiar with, when someone in the furry community has sex out in public and they get called out on it, everyone thinks that the furry community now has that appeal to them. And that is not the case. And that's the same thing that's being applied to the baby fur community, is that there have been some bad actors, and then everyone assumes that that is exactly what it is. And that is not the case at all. I will stand on that.
That is a really good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last email.
Last email. So this last email comes from Dax the Proot. He says, Dax the Proot is my persona's name. Hey guys, figured I'd send an email since I quickly fell in love with the podcast since I found it maybe a month or two ago. This email was December, so that would have been October, shortly after, probably, just about the same time we released Summer Fangasms in October. Summer in October. Love it. I was looking for some furry podcasts to listen to in the background as I play some sandbox type games, and I like the conversations you guys have. I'd figured I'd say I'm already planning on going to my first FurCon in October. Okay, so maybe this was
last year.
Assuming this is October 2026.
Yeah.
Because this was sent December 2025. So I'm planning on going to my first FurCon in October. I'm going to Aquatifur in the Dells. I should probably specify the Wisconsin Dells, and I'm sure many of you know where Aquatifur is. I'm sure many of you have been. It's a great con. And I was wondering if you guys have any tips to make sure it's a great time. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
So going to a convention, if it's your first convention, is always exciting because you never know what it's going to be like. Take lots of pictures. Don't be afraid to walk up to fursuiters and say hello. Can I take a picture of you? Can you take a picture with me? Talk to people.
Do pay attention. I will say really quick on the fursuiters thing. Pay attention because a lot of times they will have tags telling people what they are and are not okay with. So sometimes they don't want to be in pictures and they will have a tag that says no photos, or they'll have a tag that says please don't talk to me, no hugs, right? Don't touch me, stuff like that. Pay attention to the tags because a lot of fursuiters will have those on their badges. So just keep that in mind. Not everybody wants to be walked up to and talked to. So just kind of pay attention. If you don't see those badges, by all means ask. And if they say no, well, I was going to say ask. And if they say no, then you got to respect that. You know, not everybody has the badges, but sometimes you'll see the badges that say, take photos with me, say hi to me, come talk to me, stuff like that. There you go. That's your green light. Go talk to them. Go say hi, get a photo. Just kind of pay attention to those badges they have on.
Other things you can do is you can go to panels. Now, I will warn you, most panels that I've been to are really boring. So it just depends on the topic. So look at the schedule, see what interests you. Generally, a panel is just a person or two standing at the front with a bunch of chairs, and you're just watching them talk. So I like panels, but most of the ones that I've seen, I kind of question, should these people actually be running a panel? And the answer is no.
I was going to say, yeah. I
go to the dances.
When I go to cons, I don't typically go to panels. I spend more time hanging out with my friends, kind of wandering around the hotel in my fursuit, stuff like that. Every now and then, I'll go to a cool panel. Sometimes those panels are interactive. Like they have improv panels sometimes, and you can just go up and improv. I mean, you have to raise your hand. You can just walk on up. But like they do have interactive panels that can be super fun. But yes, a lot of panels are talking. Some of them are performances, which I think are really cool. I know Pepper Coyote, he does a furry choir, and that's technically a panel. It'll show up under the panel list, but that's a cool thing to go take a look at and listen to. They also have a furry band, I think, sometimes. So that's another thing to take a look at. But not all panels are equal. Go to the ones that interest you, but you don't have to go to all of them.
Yeah.
Another thing, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I know I keep talking a lot. Dealers' dens are always fun, but enter with caution.
And a budget.
Have a set limit in your mind for what you're going to spend. Specifically save up for the dealer's den if you really want to. But I have seen so many I myself have gone into debt in the dealer's den because you just see all these cool things and you want to get everything. And I will never forget how I spent $800 on a credit card in a dealer's den. So be careful going to the dealer's den. They are super cool, but be very conscientious about the money you are spending and your personal financial situation.
Yeah, always make sure you have some sort of way of getting home.
That too.
I've heard way too many stories of furries who get stuck at conventions because they spent all their money at the convention and then had no way of getting home. So
I've heard stories of furries who spent all their money and then like on the first day they spent all their money at the dealer's den and then they had no money for food for the rest of the con and then couldn't get home at the end of the con because they had no money.
Yeah, I don't understand how that mindset works, but
I don't get it.
Most artists will not refund you. So if you spend that money,
most of them will not. No,
that's their money now. So yeah, I think that's really it besides going to the dances and have fun.
Yeah, go. Definitely. The raves are always fun. I personally say if you have friends, go with friends because a group always makes it a lot more fun. And if you're not, don't be afraid to go out and meet people and try and make friends. Don't be pushy about it. And definitely don't stalk people because that is a thing that happens way too often at conventions. But don't be afraid to say hi to people and try and get to know them. And in some cases, you might get their Telegram information, you know? So definitely things to keep in mind. And yeah.
And that's it. That's all of our emails. We thank everyone for sending in their emails. We always love to read your fun little stories and answer your questions and such. If you ever want to send us an email, you can at talktothemuzzle@gmail.com. That email is also available in the description along with our other social links if you'd like to follow them. We have a Telegram group. You're more than welcome to join it. That is also linked down below, so you should have access to that too. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's all I have.
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote.
We thank you guys once again, and we'll see you guys on the next episode, which will be about something, I'm sure.
Something.
Yeah. Anyways, have a great day, folks, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.